All right, continuing on the quarterbacks. Dan, who we have up next?
Zach Wilson, BYU.
Give us those pro day numbers.
All right, so Zach threw only no workout. It was 6.021, 214. Hand was 9.5. Arm was 30 and 5/8. And wing was 74 and a quarter.
Got to talk to us about the kid, what you saw this fall.
Yeah. The thing that really flashed on Zach when you watch him on tape and in person is his command of the offense. He plays with a high level of confidence. This kid has a playmaker mentality. But while being more of a gunslinger type quarterback, I thought he did a great job of also protecting the football. You saw in those 3 interceptions this year. This is a sneaky good athlete. You see him make people miss in the pocket in tight spaces. He's able to create with his legs. Something else that consistently shows up is his ability to make full field reads. He's really quick through his progressions. He's able to get across the field quickly. He can manipulate defenders with his eyes. And another thing that I don't think enough people are talking about is his toughness. You'll see defenders barreling down on him, whether it's coming from the interior or on the edge, and he consistently keeps his eyes downfield despite knowing that a big hit is coming.
You see how quickly he operates in games. That's the same way he was in the interview process. Like his ability to dissect the play and know what he saw on tape, like almost instant recognition. You could just put up basically show the scoreboard with the score, the down distance, and the kid would almost know instantly at what point of the game it was and could recall all the plays and their concepts and how they were trying to attack the defense. Shields, any numbers stand out?
His arm talent numbers really stood out. In terms of how we grade guys, he was A's in almost everything we look at in terms of arm talent metrics. He completed about 12.5% of his passes over what would be expected. We thought that he was the best in that metric among Lawrence, Fields, Lance on tight window throws. He was A's on 20-plus yard attempts when he was under pressure, play action, and on the move.
The NFL Draft is the culmination of an offseason filled with key decisions and defining moments for the green and white.
Joe, do you feel any additional pressure to get this right?
Just curious what's going to happen with the Jets.
Armed with 10 draft picks and significant salary cap space, the opportunity to reshape the roster is there for the taking.
This is my favorite player in the draft. I just love this kid as a player.
You look at the interaction he's having with his teammates that he's throwing to. Is he a leader of those guys, or is he just, kind of about himself out there?
Do you guys think there's a chance he's there at 23?
No.
For the first time, an embedded film crew was along for the ride as a new era begins for the Jets.
We really want to start to reshape this roster because we want to win as bad as anyone.
At the end of the day, Rex, this is a damn good football player, and I think he would help us.
This is the stuff that makes him a generational type talent.
There's not a lot that he can do on a football field.
That 5 or 10 seconds is really the most nerve-wracking part of the whole process.
This is Flight 2021. In the teeth of the North Jersey winter, the Jets' offseason heated up from the onset with the search for a new head coach.
Joe Douglas, the GM, is going to be the point person on this search. They're going to cast a very wide net. This is not going to be one of those hires where the Jets have a head coach tomorrow or Wednesday.
I think first and foremost, we're looking for a great partner. Someone that's a great communicator, great manager, has a strong vision of what they want this team to look like.
From what I'm told, Robert Saleh is a leading candidate to become the next Jets head coach.
It's about his presence. It's about being able to inspire.
If you talk to Robert too, you understand why, whether it was defense, offense, or special teams, people would want to follow his lead.
Thank you.
Hey, Robert. Jaime, nice to meet you.
How's it going?
Hey, Coach. Joe Douglas.
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, good to talk to you again.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be great. I really appreciate it, too. So that's going to be fun.
Tell me about your expectations and how you see that being in your future if you're here.
I'm a big believer in over communication. You have an idea, you want to come into my office, let's talk about it. You have a problem with family, come talk to me. So my door is constantly open, even with staff, players. It is much more important for me to know where you are mentally from a mental standpoint than anything else, because at least then I know how to deal with you and give you what you need and serve you in a way that will get you to move past whatever blockage you might have so you can perform at a higher level. And so that the level of communication to me that's needed is so vital, just in terms of getting people to block out outside noise so they can remain focused on what's most important. And in this case, it would be the Jets. And that's what's most important. So
we all knew Coach Saleh to be that guy on the sideline, so enthusiastic. What I didn't know was the intense intellect, the quiet power that came from that man, and the incredible sync with Joe on how to build a team. You know, there was a point in that first interview where we took a quick break, and I went into Joe's office, and Jaime was already there. And let me just say, we all had huge smiles on our faces. We knew we had found our coach.
It's been a whirlwind. Feels like every time something hits my desk, another 5 things hit it, but it's starting to slow down some, and we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of what we do for a living. I've always believed, and I think I speak for Joe when I say this, that the culture is brought in by the people you bring in first. And there's a lot of trust that takes place, both from the scouting part and the coaching side. And on the flip side, there's just a level of communication that needs to be had, along with respect for the job that each person's trying to accomplish. And understanding that we don't want groupthink. We don't want everyone thinking the same. I think it's very healthy when people have disagreements over players, and there's discussion, and there's different things being talked about when you're going through the evaluation process. You want things challenged. You want that constant communication and banter, if you will. But all of it's healthy, and none of it's personal. And so the more we can evaluate players together, the better we'll be at seeing where each person comes from.
I'm going to be very honest. Like, part of the messaging is to bring things always back to us.
Yep.
Don't care who you have on your roster. I don't care who you're lining up with. Hey guys, this is the scheme, but they have to deal with us. They have to deal with our speed. They have to deal with our technique. They have to deal with our violence. They have to deal with our relentless, all gas, no break mindset for 60 minutes. And if you impose your will and you execute at the way you've been doing it all week, and if you execute to the way you know you can, proper tracking angles and tackling, getting off the rock, using your hands, getting off blocks, and hitting these guys with everything you got and going after the ball, we trust that the result will speak volumes for us.
While finding the right man to lead the team was step number 1, finding the players to transform the roster was next. With financial flexibility and 10 draft picks on the horizon, the staff embarked on a pivotal offseason under the leadership of third-year GM Joe Douglas.
I think the message began in July when we made the big trade for Jamal, getting the scouts together, and just saying how big of an opportunity this is for us moving forward.
They get 2 first-round picks plus a third.
We knew that we were going to have quite a bit of draft capital. We knew that if things fell in place from a financial standpoint, we would have a lot of space and money to spend in free agency.
Joe Douglas has done a great job of making team-based decisions to put us in a good situation where we can bring in some really quality football players.
Once you get to 2021 and get to that free agent class, there is tremendous flexibility and opportunity for the Jets to make a big push.
That's an opportunity to change and infuse some youth into our roster and find the starters and find significant contributors and some developmental players who you hope can progress into that sub-starter role and hopefully starter down the road.
Just continue to stick to our process, be detail-oriented, be thorough, be prepared, and be ready to execute our plan when the time comes, because the opportunity that we have to really improve our roster is in front of us.
We wanted tone setters in this building. We want to be able to bring in guys that are tempo setters, guys that are culture setters, and guys that love the game. They love football. They have a high passion for the game.
Players of high character, of high talent that can come in and really change this program.
We're going to have over 20 draft picks in the next 2 years, almost 30 draft picks in the next 3 years, and about half of them are in the top 3 rounds. So we have a huge opportunity here to make a real difference with this football team.
Well, Joe has great experience with some very, very good teams, and he's learned this position under some great general managers. Joe brings a level of calmness also that we haven't seen for a while in terms of the way he makes those decisions. And I particularly like the way he brings everybody together. He respects his scouts. He respects the coaches in terms of what they want, what they're looking for, and also their opinions of players, both college and pro. Coach Saleh exudes a confidence and a sense of leadership that I think is going to be very, very successful in the NFL. I mean, it's already proven himself as a defensive coordinator, but now at this next level, I think he'll prove once again how good he is as a leader, and getting the whole team to gel as one, and that's what you have to have in a great team.
Hey, Coach, how you doing, sir?
Good, and yourself?
They're in complete sync about how you build a team, the culture that team needs, and how to get there.
As a new era unfolds in Florham Park, it's the beginning of a new chapter for Woody Johnson. The chairman of the Jets returned in January after serving as the United States ambassador in Great Britain for the last 4 years.
I really have to thank my brother, Chris, for what he did in bringing the team and the leadership to the point it is right now with Joe, Robert, and Jaime.
Right over, man. This is his first win as an owner. Give him this ball
This team means everything to me and my family.
All right, I got a gay ball to Woody Johnson, no question. And thank you, boss.
It's been a tremendous honor being involved with this team for the last 20 years and being involved with what the fans truly love, and that's the New York Jets. I'm going to try everything I can, and the family is, to try to bring a championship team to New York.
What are some of the things that you miss most being away for these last 4 years?
Really, it's being around the fans and going out to the tailgate parties and see what everybody's cooking and meet the people. And to feel the excitement when you get back into the stadium, to feel the excitement of 80,000 fans looking at something with optimistic hearts and knowing that something good is about to happen.
With fans preparing to return to MetLife Stadium this fall, New York is at a fever pitch as the Jets take off in an electric offseason.
I think there's a visceral feeling that the fans have about a major, major change.
Tiny step to your right. Okay, sir.
I think fans already are chomping at the bit to be out there with Coach Saleh. It's going to be incredible.
Watching a game with no fans is not the same. Having fans in the building is really going to make it, take it to a different level. So, you know, being in that environment is something I'm looking forward to.
With sights set on a full MetLife Stadium this fall, the Jets' home turf was a shell of itself during the 2020 season. While the global pandemic forced drastic changes across the sports landscape, the Jets scouting department pushed forward with eyes on the 2021 NFL Draft.
You know, the things that we instruct our guys to do is when you go into a school, we ask them to at least watch 3 games of a player, from offense, defense, and even special teams. And then throughout the year, we have those guys, you know, if it's especially as a bigger school, we have them revisit that school to watch 3 additional tapes as the season goes along. It's hours and hours and hours of film watching, so we can get a really good feel of what that player is. We have 6 scouts that cover the area of the country. with Andy Davis, who does the Northeast. Alonzo Dotson does the Southeast. Chris Nolan does the Southwest. Andrew Dolak has the West. And then Drew Morris with the Plains. And then John Stiegel covers the Midwest. And then we have 3 national scouts with Jay Mandalisi, who kind of covers from the Southeast all the way up to the North. And then Dom Green, who covers some of the Southwest and works his way up to the Midwest. And then Zach Trudy, who covers Southwest and works his way west. And so we did a really good job communicating with those guys that here are your schools that you have to cover, and they attacked it.
Another domino has fallen in college football as the entire Mid-American Conference has canceled its season.
Both the Big Ten and Pac-12 conferences voting to postpone all fall sports, including football, due to the coronavirus.
The biggest adjustment out of the gate was the fact that, for the most part, we could not go to any college practices this year. There were no training camp practices to attend. There was no access to practices during the fall, which meant that you had no access to the building and the people inside those buildings who know the players.
You know, the ability to be able to get out and see prospects is most limited, the most limiting that we've had to deal with during my 18 seasons in the NFL.
We had to adjust and do things that we really were never used to or accustomed to doing before.
We were in the world of Zoom.
Really, the main purpose of the call is just to talk about updates from pro days. We're talking to Rex and Joe early in the week about just increasing kind of real-time communication.
We also had to use our experience in the world of scouting as far as being able to talk to some of our sources in certain schools. We really had to rely on going to games to get body types on players. So there was somewhat of a challenge, but in the direction of Rex Hogan and Dan Z, we did a really good job of putting a good schedule together so our guys can be successful.
The thing that we all did was we realized, well, let's just take it day by day. We couldn't certainly predict how things would change each day and how things would go, so we had to be flexible. We couldn't get too up or down if something didn't go right. We had to be able to adjust and kind of maintain our poise throughout. That's really a credit to Joe, Rex, Chad.
There's only one All-Star game that was played this year, the Reese's Senior Bowl, so that means that the players that were not in that top tier of that top category, those players never got another opportunity to be compared to other prospects across the country. And really that's what we're doing in scouting, is comparison shopping, essentially. You get a chance to go to Mobile and compare the small school player versus the big school player, the Big Ten prospect versus the player that's from the SEC. And those are valuable comparisons. We didn't really get that opportunity this year, just certainly on more of a limited basis.
No in-person workouts at the Scouting Combine this year. They're going to do, I assume, some sort of medical check, but they're not going to be on the field.
That's when you bring in the top 300 players in the country who get a chance to go compete together, within their position groups. And it's an opportunity for us to see them compete against each other on the field, and then an opportunity for us to sit down with them, interview them, and get to know them better. And that aspect wasn't there this year.
The fact that there was no Indianapolis, that was a situation where, again, through Zoom calls, the pro days, et cetera, we've tried to fill in the blanks in that regard. But the interaction with the player himself has been limited this year, with the exception of those pro days that we attended in March and April, where you could meet a player, you could talk to him face to face. Virtually everything else has been done through video.
The scouts have been able to adjust, not being able to go out on the road as often during the fall, not being able to go out to as many games, but still being able to get unbelievable information on each and every one of these players in the draft, and helping us with this process.
When the Jets are on the clock in April, they'll have 10 minutes to make their selection. But the process to determine who that player will be is over a year in the making, and in some cases, much more than that.
When a freshman or a sophomore burst onto the scene in college football, then you become aware of that player and you start paying attention to him as an NFL prospect.
Sometimes when they're freshmen, we have our guys watch quarterbacks. And if they have a big freshman year and you project that guy is going to be a potential first round or early draft pick, we ask them to write reports on them. And those guys kind of identify themselves early on in their freshman year. The number we did this year, we wrote over 1,400, almost 1,500 players. And so as a class.
254 or so players are normally drafted. We will go over at least over 500 players in our draft meetings from February and into April. We'll cover a lot of players.
Traffic intercepted.
By the time it's all said and done, you're looking at less than 300 players who are going to be on the draft board.
To put it in a simple statement, it's big, fast, physical, smart players that love the game and really want to extract everything that they can from their body and their mind and devote that to their career choice, which is professional football.
We always look at the personal character of a player, the football character, and then the on-field performance.
How this guy fits for our football team, not just from an athletic standpoint, but from a character standpoint. So some players get eliminated for character reasons.
Joe has really tried to establish is that there is a step-by-step process so that you can cast a wide net and then ultimately narrow it down to essentially about 100 players that you really want for your particular team.
As the staff works to fill out the draft board, the biggest question is who will be under center for the Jets this fall. With fourth-year quarterback Sam Darnold on the roster, the team has a decision to make as they own the number 2 pick in a deep quarterback class.
Will Sam Darnold be the quarterback in 2021?
Look, we've got a lot of decisions to make. You know, I think that Sam's going to be a great quarterback. Look, any major decision that we have moving forward in terms of the roster, in terms of free agency, draft, anything, you know, our new head coach is going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, I could take care of that.
Just following up on Connor's question from a moment ago, you spoke glowingly of Sam. So my follow-up to that one is, do you plan to make him your starting quarterback going into training camp?
You know, there's a lot of things that we have to do moving forward. You know, we're just getting the staff into the building, so there's so many things that we have to do from an evaluation standpoint with regards to the entire roster, not just the quarterback. To give you that answer right now would not be fair. There's a lot of discussions that need to be had with Joe's staff and obviously himself, and so to give you that answer right now would be a bit premature.
Every NFL draft is defined by the quarterbacks, but maybe never more so than this year with these big 5 quarterbacks we know are going to go somewhere very high.
It's a special group. You know, there's 5 of them that are pretty darn special, and they all have a unique trait that can fit any type of offense.
Wilson pulls it back and throws. It's a touchdown.
Diverse group in terms of athletic talents. But each one of the guys has an ability to throw the ball at the NFL level.
But from what I've seen from Zach Wilson, Mahomes, Rodgers, and Justin Herbert, to me, are the only guys I've seen with that kind of arm talent in the league.
Zach Wilson, the young sophomore, not playing like a sophomore here late in the game, and very accurate.
You have all different levels of experience. A lot of these guys have high levels of production. A lot of these guys have a great athletic ability.
That breaks the tackle and is still running. Will they catch him?
They're winners. When you look at their history, they've won a lot of football games for their college.
The 8th national championship, unbelievable, for the North Dakota State Bison.
The biggest thing is you want a quarterback who's a natural thrower, somebody who can throw the ball effortlessly and just where it doesn't look like he's laboring the throw.
Sproles and Watson, play action. Man wide open, caught!
At the end of the day, you want to look at guys that are accurate as passers.
For the end zone, touchdown!
Decision making.
Touchdown!
Their mobility.
Surprise! Touchdown Bison!
And then react when a play breaks down and when plays get off schedule.
Well, I tell you what, just the ability to get this ball up. Watch the launch angle from his arm.
Are they confident in what they do? Are they able to protect the football and then make plays in critical situations of games?
And what a job by Zach Wilson delivering a strike.
Those are the types of guys who once they get to the NFL, are gonna excel.
You want that young man to be fearless in the pocket. The NFL pass rush is relentless. It's hell on wheels. Those young men have to stand in the pocket and be able to deliver the football on time, knowing that they're about to get rocked. So you have to have that fearlessness in the pocket, and then obviously the mental capability to be able to process information and make quick decisions that are the right decisions. And then from there, it's just your flavor. Do you want a young man who can run? Do you want a young man who can improvise? Do you want a young man who can throw the ball 100 yards? After that, it just kind of everyone's intangible flavors. So.
I think the process, it started obviously when Coach and his staff were hired. And then I think one of the most important meetings we had was really the first meeting. That's when we went over the entire roster. And the coaches had a chance to sit down and watch tape of last year's games. We were able to get in a room. We had information from multiple departments. And we just went through our entire roster player by player just to build a foundation for the coaches. And then we were able to really get together as a group and really dive into this quarterback class, because we know it's a strong quarterback class. And so it was important for us to make sure to get together early and go over what we felt were the top 5 quarterbacks in the draft. And in doing that, I think it was important. I think it's important for Robert and myself to not create an atmosphere of groupthink where one person's opinion can influence another. So really, we gave each coach that was part of the process when it comes to quarterback evaluation the list of 5 players. They watched them separately. Weren't allowed to talk to anyone. You put together your own evaluations, your own list, and let's get together and talk about it, which is essentially what we do in every draft meeting with our scouts. There was a consensus on all of us on who the top 2 players were at the position.
On the next episode of Flight 2021.
Do they have that trait that you can hang your hat on, whether it's speed, whether it's get off, whether it's ball skill?
Which teams do you think are going to be aggressive in free agents?
This is kind of like our Super Bowl in the pro scouting department.
He's a guy that can absolutely wreck your game plan. The explosiveness, the speed, the athleticism, and the mindset.
2 things you never want to do, particularly in the quarterback room, but any of these positions, is make a decision based when you haven't really gotten to know the guy and you haven't seen him throw live.